Billy Harvey.
Hey there, this is Rob Ruckus.
Hey, it's Tony from Fastball.
Hey, it's Ben McKelvey.
Hey guys, it's Matt here from the White Lakes.
What's up, everybody? Jacob from the Big News.
Hey guys, it's Nick Collins here from The Effect and Better Strangers.
Check me out at Almost Famous Magazine.
Buzzing film are clips to be dropping on Almost Famous Magazine.
Check out Almost Famous Magazine.
You can find more clips from my interview with Almost Famous Magazine.
3, 2, 1, 0, and liftoff.
Hey there, and welcome back to Almost Famous Magazine. Now, I'm just going to give you a little behind the scenes. We tried to do this interview a little earlier. We had some technical glitches, but with challenges create opportunities. So we're going to do something really special when we're talking to Jack Rumors from Straight Jacket today. We're actually going to get a chance to go through some of their songs and tell you how they were created. So it's going to be a fun and exciting conversation. So without any ado, I want to introduce to you the band Straight Jacket. It's an alt-pop punk trio from the Bay Area, and it consists of the gentleman sitting right here, Rumors, bassist Fabian Angel, and drummer Nate Mangold. Jackson, whichever you prefer, let me know. Welcome to Almost Famous Magazine.
Thank you so much for having me. We're super stoked to be a part of it, and I'm really looking forward to our conversation. And you can call
This
me
is going to be a lot of fun. Jack. All right. I know Jack. All right. So, Straight Jacket, I've heard a little bit about you guys. I love the music. You've got a great feel, great tunes. But I want to kind of start out a little bit. How did you guys get together? Like, what was the impetus of the band, and how did your musical journey with them start?
So, Fabian Angel and I I really wanted to start a band in about 2019. I was in college at the time, and I was kind of like not really feeling like this is what I wanted to do. Originally, I was majoring in film because I had a little bit of stage fright, and I wanted to put my artistic drive into something that wasn't performance necessarily. So I studied film for a while, and eventually I was like, I really don't want to do this. This is not my calling. So I started playing guitar heavily. I never stopped, but I started playing again when I knew I wanted to start a band. I called up my friend Fabian, who is a childhood friend from about third grade or something. And I knew he owned a bass, and he came over with his bass, and we jammed in my mom's living room. And we were like, this is fun. I know a drummer. Let's get together, play music, see how it sounds, see how it works. And we did that, and we played about 3 shows before the pandemic hit, and everything got kind of shut down, and we were heartbroken because we were all ready to just charge forward, and just play. But the pandemic hit, the scenes in which we were playing got completely crumbled to ashes. And instead of, bending over and just saying, oh, well, that sucks, we just got to wait it out, we decided that we were going to rebuild the band, Fabian and I. And through the pandemic, we were going to do that. And the first thing on the to-do list was to find a drummer that could really keep up the pace with us and the music that we wanted to play. I thought it was going to be a long search. I knew what I wanted. I wanted a drummer that could play really fast and really precise and be really creative. And that's not something that most people could just be like, oh yeah, I know a guy. It's not really, it's a hard thing to find. But for me, my search was the easiest thing in the world. I called up Nate, who played in another band that we played one of our 3 shows with. And I said, hey man, like, I got some music here. We're looking for a drummer. I don't know what your current situation is with your band, but listen to these and see what you think. He listened to them, and he showed up to practice the next day, and we played, and it was exactly what I always dreamed of in my head, what I wanted it to sound like, which is an amazing feeling when that happens, because it doesn't happen too often. everything can be a little bittersweet when it comes to music and stuff, especially when it's collaborative like this. But when he came in, it was like the perfect fit, and he was pretty much a part of the band right after that first practice. And during the pandemic, because this was at the beginning of the pandemic, we had the whole pandemic pretty much to just not have any jobs and stay inside and just practice, practice, and practice. And that's exactly what we did. So that's kind of how we started off.
Oh, cool. Cool. Now, you brought up something because it's the three of you, and I want to touch on. Are the three of you doing your writing together, or are you bringing the music to the other two? How does the writing process work with you guys?
I would say that I'm, especially on this first record, I guess if you had to choose one, I would probably be the primary songwriter. Nate had a lot of ideas he brought in. He came up with a lot of amazing riffs and some really good verses as well. Like he would, so oftentimes what would happen is he would come in with a riff that he came up with and like a first verse, and then I would take that and try and like write the rest of the song out, which is what we did on about 3 songs on the record. The rest were mainly written by me lyrically and musically as well. I mean, I didn't write bass parts or drum parts though. So like I never like, unless I had an actual idea for a bass part or a drum part. But mostly I just came in with a song that I wrote on guitar with words, and I'd give it to the guys and have them come up with their own thing, because obviously I can't play and do the things that they would do because they're them and I'm me. So that is the collaborative process pretty much.
Now, you mentioned when you got the guys together and you finally got all three of you together, especially your drummer, it sounded the way that you wanted it to sound, right? So when the other guys are bringing pieces into this writing process, if there's something that you're like, well, I don't know, it doesn't sound the way I wanted to, do you guys have you experienced yet any consternation of, you know, who gets what part in the song? And out of the three of you, is there somebody there who's the moderator or deal breaker?
You know, yeah, absolutely. Actually, like no one ever asks really about that, about, you know, is there ever any tension between the artistic process? But there is totally. I feel like there has to be also, you know, there has to be there has to be some arguing. I think that's kind of what makes it good, and what also makes it real, if that makes sense. Like it's you got to give and take, you know, and there is a lot of that. I think at the end of the day, though, whoever wrote the song should get to be like, I don't know if that sounds like how I want it for the song that I wrote, you know. That's at least kind of what I believe. But I mean, that's what the Beatles did. So I heard they did. If you wrote the song, then you get the final say on what should be in the song and what shouldn't be. And everyone enters with their own ideas. And obviously it's cool to get those ideas. And oftentimes those ideas make it into our songs, because I can't even think in the way that Nate plays drums, you know? So I can't say this sounds better or anything, like, because I feel like that's one thing about us, is like we trust each other to do the right part for the part that we do. So I know that I can't do breakneck speeds on drums and do the fills that he does, so I just let him go off, and I know I can't play bass the way Fabian plays bass. So that's kind of how we roll, you know. If it really doesn't sound good, I'll say something, but for the most part, I'm like, I trust that this sounds good for this side of the band, you know, on a song.
Well, that's great to hear. I mean, it does. Look, you don't join a band to be a politician, right? You join a band to be creative, but you can certainly end up. There are many bands who can't get beyond the politics of the band, so it's good to hear that you guys have figured it out at an early stage. So we get to the pandemic. You guys start just woodshedding the heck out of the music, and then you start getting back into playing gigs. Now, do I understand this correctly? You've played bridges, on beaches, in warehouse, like some really weird places that you may not normally go for a gig. Tell everybody about kind of those stories behind those odd gigs that you played to start to build an audience.
I think a lot of what was going on during the pandemic was like there was nowhere to play in a closed room. So the idea was, how do we play shows and do live performances and keep live music being a thing and also have fun at the same time while when there's no venues to play in. So we played skate parks, beaches, yeah, under bridges and whatnot, just all around the place. And I think as punk rock like kind of starts in a place like that too, though, you know what I mean? Like the whole point of it really is like it's not always accepted. Like it's so out there and so strange sometimes that it's not, that people don't want it in their establishments maybe. Um, and so instead of just playing like, oh, all right, let's make other music or let's not play here or play there, we just go outside and we play outside. I mean, you go to a skate park, you play for skaters, so that's a perfect audience. We also played baseball fields and stuff like that. We would just really get out there and do that stuff. And this was mainly during the early 2021 and late 2020 that was really going on. It kind of stuck around for a while too, though. It was like, you know what, this is fun. We could just play outside. We never have to go to a venue. We could just sell merch and make money that way if we're looking to make money, or we could just go and have fun. So that's stuck. I feel like that's stuck around a bit, and that's really cool. I love shows like that. I love shows that are in dingy areas. It's like you flip over a rock and you see a cool bug or something. You know what I mean? Like, so that's kind of my idea of it. You can find cool music and cool art there.
It makes for a great experience. I mean, I think life is for living off the beaten path, not on the beaten path. So it definitely is. It's a great story. Now I'm really excited. I want to play with you, or play for you, or for our audience. Hell, we're gonna just play it. We're gonna play your first single, "Be My Drug." Let's get a little taste of that. Give everybody an idea of what that sounds like, and then let's talk about it on the backside. Sound good?
Sounds good to me. Be My Drug is actually our second
go.
single, though. Just want to throw that out there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bad Start.
No,
Bad
it's all
Start's
good.
First one, right?
Bad Start.
Okay, we're gonna start with Bad Start. We're gonna start with
Gotcha.
Bad Start. I got notes all over the place. We're gonna start with Bad.
No, totally.
We'll start
Just
with
wanted to make
Bad
sure
Start.
that we were doing the. Gotcha.
We've just introing this. We've had a bad start, so I guess it's appropriate. Here we go.
I'm on the cold side of my bed, counting yesterday's regrets. I'm losing sleep and off my meds. The day was fucked, the stage was set. I wonder if I'll be okay. And will I ever escape this place? A small brain, a big heart, a shut mouth, a bad start. A small brain, a big heart, a shut mouth, a bad start.
All right. Love the energy. I can definitely feel what you were talking about, Nate's drums there. I mean, he's right in the pocket. Where did Bad Start come from? Tell us about kind of up the germination of the song and what transformed it as it went along to become what the final song sounds like.
So yeah, Bad Start musically came from when we were just doing a jam at practice. Originally, it was a lot slower, almost Deftonesy, if that sounds. Sorry if that sounds crazy, but at its first, when we just first started playing it, just out of nowhere, accidentally at practice, and we started jamming on it, it was this drony kind of, chordy song. I took it home. I forgot how it went to practice. And so all I remembered was the chords that were used. And so this was during the pandemic when I was writing. This was right when it started. I spent a lot of time out in my backyard, alone, because it was the only place I could be outside. And I just sat out there with my guitar for hours, and I'd write songs in my backyard by myself in the middle of the lawn. And I remember writing Bad Start kind of as like thinking in my head, what would be a good outcasty anthem for the COVID generation? You know what I mean? Because obviously every great punk band, or every great pop punk or punk band has these loser anthems, that for people who need it, for everyone who needs it at some point, in their life when they're like, everything sucks. You can relate to those, I guess. I thought, how can we make it, how can we connect it to today, if that makes sense? How can we make something that might really connect with an audience using this sound for the COVID-19 era of kids who are stuck at home? It's an entirely different experience than anything anyone has experienced in the past 50 years or so. So I never wanted to mention COVID in our music at all. I kind of found that a little weird, or like, just kind of odd. And so I wanted to hint at it. And so that's why you have, I woke up on the cold side of my bed. Will I ever escape this place? All this kind of very to the point stuff. It's not super metaphorical. You can tell pretty much what I'm saying. It's very simple. But the idea of the song was that it was something people can shout into like their pillow or something, because they're stuck at home and they have nowhere to put the feelings of being who they are in that era of time, So that was kind of the idea behind the song. And it really, writing songs like that in my backyard, Bad Start was the song that I wrote, I guess, out there. But that was, that added to the idea. Like, I was in the pandemic and I was writing music for people who were in the pandemic or just stuck at home or whatever it is. It was for them, by them, if that makes sense, So it's kind of...
No, totally. One of the things I really like there is the use of, you come in and you got this isolated vocal, right? So we're all alone. It's that pandemic era thing. We're all kind of stuck alone. But then you guys come in with the harmonies, right?
Yeah.
And the harmonies really work. I think it really adds to the song. I don't know if that was planned early on in the version, but you really hit it on that final version for sure.
It was pretty. Our label was like, we want to have this kind of Ramonesy style chanty chorus, and I was all game for that. I love the Ramones, so I was like, let's do it. And having all the guys come into and singing it with me. We also had our producer and our sound engineer screaming it in the room somewhere. To really get the full weight of the chorus. But yeah, I agree. I like that it's all of us singing, and it is harmonies, but it's also just like all of us shouting it at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, small brain, big heart, we think this, but yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to that shouting in the pillow thing, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, definitely great there. So let's pivot a little bit. We're gonna do your next single, My Drug.
And she invited me along on the road trip, and she insisted to stay for the whole thing. She said, be my drug tonight, get it stoned, don't work no more. She said, won't you be mine? We're all alone, no one will ever know.
here's what I get out of this. Tell me if I'm right or wrong. It's a love song that gets a little dark and angry, right? But still keeps that love song feeling. Because you really you make some chordal changes there, right? Once you hit the drum fill on the intro, and it goes from kind of more of an upbeat to almost a darker place. Am I getting this right? Tell me about this, because I love the structure of the
Yeah,
song.
you know, "Be My Drug" when we were recording all the way up until we were recording it, and afterwards, and now, it was pretty much my favorite song on the record, I would say, because I thought that it worked in the vein of Bad Start, which is what I knew was going to be the leading single. I thought it played off very well. It doesn't say the same thing at all as Bad Start does. It's a love song, you know. But yeah, the only way I could see it being similar to Bad Start, other than the sound of the song, is that it might be a love song from the perspective of the same character of Bad Start. You know what I mean? Like it's someone who is in their shell and someone's trying to bring them out of it, is what I was kind of trying to say, because that is me a lot, or has been me in the past a lot of the times where I'm dragged to do something and then it turns out to be a lot of a great experience or a lot of fun, but it's not something that I wanted to do originally. So I could see it being this kind of dark thing, because it is about this person, but it's from the perspective of someone else and what they're going through at the time. Yeah, I mean, I remember when we were recording it, we had those keyboards on it right after the chorus, and our producer was like, "Yeah, we can make it like a punk rock Cars song or something, you know, like a pop punk Cars." And I was like, "That's cool. I want to go into that a little bit more." But anyway, yeah.
Well, you can feel as you go from the first verse to that chorus and you make those chord changes, you can almost feel resistance just in the chord change itself, right? Because it's almost like once you hit that, you're putting up that whoa, stay away kind of thing, right? It's got that tension that you build. And I really like that, because it's a different pivot, because you could have pivoted just to a bright, happy place. But instead, that's that relationship, the resistance that you can feel. You can actually feel it in the song. And I like that.
Yeah, I think that actually, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because now that I think about it, there was probably other ways we could have done that chorus to make it, I don't know, more hopeful or something, but we kind of kept it in this minory area, kind of tuned lower too, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't heard that before, but I think that sounds right, you know? Like we did kind of keep it dark and moody. So, yeah. And we kept it, you know, obviously shimmery with the keyboards and stuff, but still kind of darkish.
Oh, dark and moody as love can be. So, for everyone watching, May 11th is going to be a big day for Straight Jacket. Here's why. They're dropping their EP. So, on their EP, it's not one song, it's not two songs, it's going to be 5 songs?
It's going to be 5 songs, yeah.
Is it 5 songs, Jeff?
Yes.
Okay. So we've got 3 other songs. Let's go through one of them. Should we go to Cut the Cord, Living a Lie, or Torch? Which one should we take a listen to?
As long as we promise this is coming out after the release of the EP, right? Okay.
Oh yeah. Don't worry, everybody. We may just hit release day to really get people going.
I really would love for people to hear Torch, because I'd love to talk about Torch a little bit, because I think that song is a complete change up. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, no, I accidentally hit a button. All right, tell me, keep going, and then we'll get the song started. What were you saying?
Let's talk about it after we listen to it. You know what I mean? Let's do that. That's a better idea.
All right, let's get a bit of Torch.
Icy rains may fall, they will bring you down, wild winds may blow, sweep you off the ground, but as long as you are lost, you have nothing to lose. can take your torch to be my light. I'd never know another darker day or night. I'd hold it close, my weary way it shows. Sometimes you gotta leave to come back.
Wait a minute. Punk, pop, punk, pop. Not in straight 4. Loads of triplets. Feels like something I can dance to. What's going on there?
Okay, so I am a huge Beatles fan. Like I love the Beatles. They're probably my favorite band. So the idea behind writing it was like this was before the band was even a something I thought I would even want to do. Like I wanted to play blues rock at first because that's how I got started. Playing blues rock in San Jose clubs and stuff when I was like 14 to any older blues band that would let me join in. So a lot of this comes from my love of the blues and folk as well. One of my favorite albums ever is the soundtrack to Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, which is that Coen Brothers movie. So this song I wrote, I think maybe 7 years ago now. It's the oldest song that we have. When I brought it in, I kind of was thinking, well, I don't actually know. I can't make any promises that we're gonna make any more records after this. So, I mean, obviously I want to, and I don't expect not to. I want to make a ton of records, But when my idea was like, all right, if this is our only record that we get to make, we have to show every single side of what we can do and how far we can stretch what we're doing, while we're also remaining, with also keeping our sound, which is that kind of alty pop punk thing going on. So this song was kind of this love ballad that I had a long time ago that I never didn't like and I never didn't want to be on anything. I remember turning it in. I remember them loving it, and I was just stoked that we could get it on board. It is a lot different. I kind of consider it the black sheep of the record because it really stretches out from those chants and stuff. It's not that at all.
But I will tell you, from an accessibility standpoint, the feel of the song, people can get in that groove. And again, you're standing out a little bit, in my opinion, because you're not doing like just a straight 4/4 beat, right? You're just not hammering away, plowing the song. It's got some swing, it's got some sway and feel to it that helps it stand out from the other songs. And I think that's one of the things that could really help with it.
I think that speaks loudly to the abilities of Fabian and Nate as well, because I mean, the swing comes from the drums.